Let's bring you this headline story now. How safe do we all feel in our homes and communities? Well, that is the question at the heart of the latest Victims of Crime report, set to be released today by Statistician-General Risenga Maluleke. The survey goes beyond crime statistics to capture people's lived experiences, from housebreakings and robberies to assault and theft, while also revealing how people perceive crime, safety and the justice system. Newzroom Afrika's Veronica Makhoali is tracking the story for us. Veronica, it is such a wide-ranging report. It offers so much insight into, as we say, the daily lived experience of people in this country. And the last report was devastating.
Yeah, certainly, Michelle. You'd know that in a country like ours, specifically in South Africa, crime is an everyday occurrence. People in South Africa are truly living in that cloud of fear continuously. But the reality is, when we look at the Victims of Crime survey, it really tells and paints a picture that the police crime statistics does not. And that is how South Africans are truly feeling in the communities that they live in. Apart from that, it's all about, looking at the perception of criminality and in the entire, justice system as well as law enforcement. When we look at just the numbers from last year, it painted a really gruesome picture of some of the stats there. In fact, over 1 million households experiencing, break-ins. And you'd understand that the figures that are coming from this specific survey are sometimes crimes that have not been reported to police stations or to the police, but this is the lived experience of South Africans. But it's not just about numbers. As you've mentioned, perception truly matters here. It's really a look at how South Africans are feeling in their homes, their lived experiences, the efforts that they have to take in order to make themselves feel safe, but also, Michelle, it's also the view on our courts and just what it will take to rebuild trust in regards to law enforcement and, of course, tackling criminality. The picture that we, of course, are expecting and the focus that we're expecting as well from Stats SA is to give us a real perception of the true effects of crime, apart from what we know in terms of reporting it to the police, just how intense and just how people are really living in regards to tackling criminality. And we'll, of course, be hearing that report and giving us an in-depth picture, really, of just what happens across all 9 provinces. We know that this stat and the survey is done across 30,000 households, and just really the lived experience of some of those stories that often don't go reported.
Certainly. And, you talk about the steps that we need to take to keep ourselves and our families safe, Veronica. It also speaks to the sort of double tax that we all pay, isn't it? The tax that we pay as citizens in the country, as people living in the country, but then we have to have these additional measures in place, security companies, high walls, those kinds of steps, just to try and go to bed at night with some inkling of feeling safe.
And we're going to actually be looking at that in that survey, just what South Africans have to do to make themselves feel safe. Additional security, as you've mentioned, Michelle, but also the real reality and the sense. You'd know that at police stations, and often when we look at the crime statistics, they speak about conversations such as assaults, gender-based violence, murder. These are often the conversations when we look at the crime statistics. But what this survey does, as it's called, the Victims of Crime survey, it takes a more in-depth look. In fact, even one of the reports, they're mentioning just the anxiety that South Africans feel. A question being posed to South Africans to say, how safe do you feel walking at night? What gives you anxiety when you are walking in the streets? What are the biggest crimes that you fear that may take place to you? What victim or what crime have you endured that you felt did not get the necessary attention from police? So these are really just the conversations on a broader perspective when it comes to criminality in South Africa. I mean, when you look at the crime stats, for example, given by police and given by the Minister, Semzo Ncunu, they really paint a picture of the numbers, but not really the stories, the trauma as well, Michelle, that often accompanies such criminality.